everybody. I'm Toni Marcolini. I'm an attorney and a professor here in the great state of New Jersey. I'm joined today with my co-hosts, John Hartmann, also an author and an attorney, and Marti Mongiello, former White House chef, executive chef at Camp David, author, and just all around wonderful human being. So today, and first let me say, before we get to our guest, I have to throw this out there. For those of you who are watching us on YouTube, as opposed to listening on like iHeart Radio or something, we are not wearing the same outfit like 3 weeks in a row. So, one of those behind the scene things, we actually record multiple episodes in the same day. So that's why we are all wearing the same outfits. So I had to get that out of the way. The men won't care. They won't even notice. But there are women out there now going, they wear that last week? Like, what's they have one outfit? Don't they change?
You didn't get changed for 3 weeks. That's what it was.
Right, exactly. Like, don't they? She's in the same outfit. Like the women.
See, John's crafty. He's like,
I got my
different jacket.
John did change his blazer.
I did. I changed my dye to a seersucker. Now I got this.
Okay, so I'm going to jump right in. Today we have with us Seamus McDonagh. For those of you who don't know the name, and I don't know who doesn't know his name, he's an actor and a former boxer. You probably know him from the heavyweight. Woo, there you go, sideways on this. From the heavyweight championship with Evander Holyfield. He's had just such an interesting life that we really wanted to have him on and pick his brain, talk a little bit about his journey to get to the point where he is now. So, hello, Seamus.
Hello, Toni.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to take you back to your early years. Now, we first met at St. John's University. We both attended, and you were actually an English lit major, or a literature major, if memory serves me, which was very out of character with the fact that you were this just giant boxer at the time.
You're right.
Was he a boxer in college?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was already famous. I mean, you would, if I'm not mistaken, you had won the New York State Golden Gloves Championship, and we were in college. Am I right?
Exactly. Yes, Toni, and great to be on here, by the way, and thank you for having me. I was an immigrant from Ireland, of course, and what happened to me was I'm also an alcoholic, but I haven't drank in 25 years.
Congratulations.
My hair's a mess. It looks different. Anyway. Oh my God, what am I doing here? Oh,
okay.
Anyway, so I was just working in Manhattan, driving the horse and carriages around the park, and just getting bored with life and drinking too much at the time, and I actually sometimes I am fearful to express this, but I actually got suicidal and tried to kill myself at 21 years old, and I thought here I am in this great opportunity. I'm in New York. I'd loved the place when I came there first, and I started to hate the place. And what am I doing with my life? And then I realized that I hadn't been to college and I didn't have a good job. I had a good job, but I didn't have a job that was fulfilling. So I decided to go back to school. So my friend Chris Byrne, who was a police officer in New York at the time, was attending St. John's. His father taught there actually. So I drove across the bridge. It was like a 10-minute drive from where I lived in Bay Ridge, and then I just got into St. John's.
Sure. And you started boxing at the same time, I guess. Well, I think your father, if my memory serves me, your father kind of trained you to box when you were just small, right? 7, 8 years old.
Yes, he was more than a trainer. He was a dad. My hair is a mess. Sorry.
So it's all good.
Good to have hair, man. I wish I had that problem.
John is thinking right now. John's thinking, I wish I had hair to fix.
I wish I had that problem.
Anyway, so my dad was a professional boxer in England. he had such a rough life, and it makes me want to cry when I tell about his story, you know. But he also had a large family himself. I have 7 brothers and sisters, and we moved from England to Ireland because he didn't want to raise us in England. He wanted to raise us in Ireland. And started a boxing club in the town where he built a house. My brother and I helped him build a house in Enfield, County Meath, and as soon as the house was built, he started a boxing club. And within 2 years, this is how obsessive my dad was with boxing. Within about 2 years, we were one of the best clubs in the region, and then one of the best clubs in the country. And within a couple of years of boxing, and he just lived boxing. He's like Tiger Woods' dad. He was obsessive with boxing, and what happened was we did pretty well. My brother and I, we won numerous national titles as juveniles, and there was a Mayo selection, which is where he was from, in County Mayo in the west of Ireland. My hair's a mess. he was from there, so they picked me on their team to go to Chicago to fight. So we came to Chicago in the early 80s, and I had a great fight, one of the best fights of the night. Met Mayor Jane Byrne in Chicago, and my dad decided to stay here, like his dad had done in the 40s and 50s. So he stayed, and a year and a half later, I came over with my sister to New York. He moved to New York, and we were settled in New York, and I started working, and a couple of years later, started St. John's, and that's what happened. That's how that happened, Tony.
Well, talk to us about the fight with Holyfield. I'm going to jump over to that because you had just won the the New York State Golden Gloves championship. Of course, you're getting a lot of media attention, which I do remember thinking must have been hard on you while you were a college student, trying to be a college student. I mean, I remember, you were around campus and you were just trying to be an ordinary person, and you had a lot of notoriety already.
Yeah. Well, it was a big deal for me to go to college in the U.S. Most of my family didn't go to college. Now, since I went, they all did. Most of them have gone to college. My parents didn't go to college. They both finished high school, but didn't go to college. So it was a big deal, and it opened up a new world for me. So in St. John's, I just was fascinated with literature and how others live their lives. So I was really interested in that. And I had a girlfriend, Renee. You remember her?
I do.
And just the psyche, the different psyche, the how people approach life, how people solve their problems, which is what life is about. And her approach was like fascinating to me. It's like, she does that, and I couldn't believe that I'd never even thought that in my life. She just does this, and different people do different things to solve their problems, and so there's stuff to learn, and there's more than my little world, my little head. It's all in my head, and I was fascinated by it. I took philosophy, and it would just open up another new world. We had some brilliant teachers in English literature, Father McCann,
right?
Dr. Dunn. Oh my God, he was a character. And you remember Jane Sweeney?
I do. I loved her.
Oh my God, yes. And so it opened a brand new world for me. So I moved out of that. At the same time, I quit drinking because I was 21. I needed to quit drinking. And on January 4th, right before I attended my first class at St. John's, I decided to go in the Golden Gloves for one more year. I've been in the 2 previous years, and I always lost in the quarterfinals to the eventual winner. It's very political sport, also, like everything. Anyway, so my record in the Golden Gloves is 15-2 with 15 knockouts. I only won a fight if I if I knocked the person out. And it weren't even knockouts; they were stoppages. And I hate the even word to knock somebody out. That's so violent to me. Oh my God, I hate to even say it, But it's the sport, and that's what I did back then, and it's over, and it's not occurring now, thank God. But it opened up a new world for me, and I did pretty good in the late 80s. I turned professional to pay for my second semester at St. John's. That's why I turned professional. I swear to God. And after a couple of years, 3 or 4 years, I won all my fights. I lost one fight along the way, which I was crushed by, and completely changed my life actually. And then this opportunity came along where Mike Tyson had gone to Japan. Mike Tyson was the overwhelming heavyweight champ of the world, knocking everybody out. He goes to Japan for a warm-up fight, and he gets knocked out. And the whole world was turned upside down in boxing. And I was, at the time, I was 3 in the world as a cruiserweight, but 9 in the world as a heavyweight, because I'd beaten a couple of heavyweights. Actually, I think it was 9 or 10. I'm not sure. Someone said recently that I was 10. I don't know, though. It doesn't matter. So they offered me a fight with Mike Tyson. I was like, Mike Tyson back then was the ominous Mike Tyson, you know, and I still hate my hair. So they offered me the fight, and we said, I'm not going to fight Mike Tyson. And then they offered me a fight with George Foreman. I said, I'm not going to fight George Foreman. And then they offered me a fight with Evander Holyfield. I said, I'm not going to fight any of them. But then they made me, they told me, they reminded me that if I beat Evander Holyfield, if I fought him, then I would make 25 million my next fight to fight for the title. So we took the fight, and it's all history now. But it was a bit quick. My dad was against it. I didn't know what to do. My managers were great guys. The Barberos from Staten Island, and Nick Baffey and Joe Baffey and Vinny Sorolla. They were my managers at the time. But they just did the best they could. Next question.
Well, no, I mean, you did a great job. I mean, there's no question that you held your own in the fight.
Yeah.
You had an opportunity, I think, to train with the famous Cus D'Amato as well. Am I right? And you...
Cus wanted to train me, and I was... I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. But Cus wanted to train, but then when I asked him, I was very... wanted to find out what kind of methods he used, so... He told me he didn't. When they sparred, they didn't wear headgear, and I thought, I wear headgear. I mean, I was conscious of brain damage in boxing, which I still am, and I'm still affected by it, and so I couldn't even fathom that boxing, sparring without headgear. So I said no, and he came back to New York. That's when he came back to New York and won the Golden Gloves.
And all this while, weren't you writing to Norman Mailer?
Yes, I was. We were communicating. I have a bunch of letters from Norman, and I wrote back to him every time, told him about the fight, and he wanted to come to the Holyfield fight. Couldn't make it. He was away doing something, and that's the poster of Evander and I. Yeah. So Norman was such. He used to call me, you know, and encourage me and share his advice with me, because he did some boxing also. He was a good guy, and I had no idea about his fame, what he had done, or what he, you know. I found out when I found out later what he had written, and I did a project on one of his novels for a class, a book report. But he was very kind to me, very kind to me.
Wow. So, and do you still talk to Evander Holyfield?
We talk once in a while. Last time I saw him was in New York in Madison Square Garden. Actually, we took a picture and communicate a little bit on one of the social medias. I won't give any credit here. So,
are most fighters professional about that, or do people still hold grudges if you beat someone, or how's it work?
Some do, some don't. It's just like regular people, and I still have a little bit of tinge. I've been working on it every day. Actually, the major part of my life now is that I'm 25 years sober, and that, like I said earlier, I needed some methodology to deal with my problems. How do I deal with my problems? That's how you get through your life. And my way to deal with my problems was to drink. That stopped working. And now I was introduced 25 and a half years ago. I was introduced to doing the 12 steps on a daily basis, which I did this morning. I haven't finished my meditation yet because I didn't time things correctly, but I do that every morning, and what it does is it gets rid of the grudges and the brooding hate and the all the fears and the worry and all the concerns and all the it actually deals with all those problems that I was not given any methodology to deal with it from St. John's or from high school, or my parents didn't know it, but it was passed on to me. Someone showed me.
Well, talk to us about the meditation. I know you're very much into that.
I met this group of people in San Francisco who were very, how could I say, lively and just fun group of people, and I just wanted to know what was going on with them. They weren't drinking, you know. How can you have fun without drinking? And it was explained to me. When I'm a very sensitive person, you know. I cry very easily. You know, I was crying, I think yesterday. You know, I'm kind of going to cry now. No, I'm not. I'm a very sensitive person, and so when I have fear in my head, I seem to ruminate about it, thinking about it constantly. You know, if I fear, not meaning afraid necessarily. If someone's got a if I'm walking across the street, the car starts driving fast towards me, I get afraid. You know, but fear would be like right now. I'm thinking, am I getting a ticket on my car outside? Or, you know, that's stuff that's not happening right now, but it's something that might happen or did happen. So what I was shown to do was to get a pen. I have a pen in my hand right now. Get a pen and paper and write down what's bothering me right now. And I've come to realize that the number one offender in my consciousness is resentment. And I know now that when I don't get what I want, I get resentful like a kid. I'm still, you know, I'm almost 50 and I get resentful. So I need to write it down. I can't live my life resentfully. I used to, but then I would drink it away, and that doesn't work anymore. And there was no other methodology passed on to me that would help me deal with the problems right now, which were that I want to do things. I want to be creative in my life. I don't want to be resenting someone from the past about different things from the past that's not happening now. It's like someone's described it as rent. They got a room in your head and they're not paying any rent. You know, I'm paying the rent. So I'm talking too much, Toni. Go ahead.
No. I mean, I think it's wonderful. I mean, you're an example for people struggling with addiction as to how you were able to change your life and found a healthy way forward. That's a little bit about why I think we wanted to tell your story in particular, because you did kind of hit bottom, especially after the fight with Holyfield. And I think you picked yourself up, dusted yourself off and truly brought yourself and rose out of the ashes, which is amazing. And I wanted you to tell that story. It's a story of hope. I mean, ultimately, how
Absolutely.
you.
Seamus, can I ask you a question? Who's your favorite Irish writer?
I think Joyce was my favorite Irish writer. Yeah. I loved Yeats also, though.
Wow.
What do you like to read, just in general? If you just have an hour to kill and you want to read a book, what do you like to pick up?
I have to listen to stuff on audio. I love educational podcasts. That's my favorite now. And there's Joyce. I love educational podcasts. I'm not much into reading fiction. I love movies. I love to write movies. I love to make movies.
Well, you're into acting now too. That's a new focus of your career.
I am. It's funny. I after one of my drinking binges in New York, I went over to get my car at the pound because I forgot where I parked it. And thank God I don't want to drive drunk, which I did a couple of times. So I went over to get my car, and they wanted so much money to get my car back. I didn't have it on me at the time. So I was walking back to a Hell's Kitchen where I used to drive the horse and carriages, Toni, remember?
Right.
I was on the corner of 34th and 11th, and I was standing at the corner, depressed, and waiting for the light to change. And a guy pulls up with the light. He shouts out my name with a real Dublin accent. He goes, "Seamus McDonagh," the real Dublin accent. And I didn't ask him a question. I heard the Dublin accent. I jumped in the car with him. I says, "Are you going uptown?" Who he was, brand new stranger. He says, "Yeah." So we jump in the car with him. He tells me on the way uptown, tells me he's Jimmy Smallhorn, who
Wow.
very famous actor in Ireland, a very good friend of mine. And he had just gotten the lead in an off-Broadway play about Bobby Sands called Bobby Sands MP by Judy Gabor way back in the 90s. And me being the grandiose person I am, I said, "Have they finished auditions?" And he says, "I think there's a couple of parts, you know." So I went down and auditioned for Nye Hearn, who was a great guy, just passed away recently. And I auditioned for Nye Hearn, and Nye said, "That's the best audition I've ever seen in my life." And I was like, I didn't know what to say, you know. So I got the small part in the play, and I started to love acting. And I thought, this is what I thought, Tony. I thought, I'm back, you know. All over with, you know, I was in all the spotlight and Showtime and not Showtime, Showtime, for the fight and meeting, you know, former presidents. Not gonna get no publicity here. Former presidents and just having the life of Riley, as they say in Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you play that show with about Bobby Sands?
Bobby Sands MP. Yeah, it was a play, beautiful play. Yeah.
What was your role in there? What was your?
This is funny. I played a British soldier and an RUC man, which was kind of like the opposite to the what the play was about. Bobby Sands,
that's funny.
And being a freedom fighter and all that. Yeah.
I remember that. My mom's Irish, and that was like a big deal in our household. I guess like 80, 81 when that was going on. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Over in America, I can only imagine.
Oh yeah, totally. It was we all want a better life, you know, and but how do we do it, you know? Well, my world is on my shoulders. And if I'm going to walk around the world resentful or fearful, I'm not contributing to a peaceful, better world. I'm messing the world up. I'm messing people up. I'm having people if I'm stay resentful, I just pass it on like the domino effect. So I need to deal with my consciousness right here. I don't leave the house in the morning till I get rid of all my resentments and fears on paper, and do my meditation. I've done my transcendental meditation, like Toni mentioned, for 25 years, and I get a change in my consciousness where I'm actually loving to people, and see that everybody has a hard life. Not just me, you know, or others. Everybody has. I don't care how rich you are. Everybody has a hard life. I don't care how you are, how privileged you are. Everybody has a hard life, and I don't want
to. Not easy to live here for anybody.
Excuse me.
I said it's not easy to live here.
Exactly. Yeah.
James, I've got to know. I got to know this. When you were like at the height of your boxing and you were going out and having a good time, were people like trying to pick fights with you when they were drunk just because they knew who you were?
I would try to stay as anonymous as possible because if some people, when they get a couple of drinks, they want to, have a crack at the title, you know. So not very much, but sometimes that would happen. So I would go. Sometimes people make an announcement. Oh, here is, or the band would announce, and we have this guy in the room with us tonight. Oh my God, why do you do that? You know? But sometimes, yeah, not so much. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about that.
I'm curious.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Tell us about, because I think you did a play about a boxer. I can't think of his name.
Called Kid Shamrock, yes.
Kid Shamrock, right? That was in Broadway, I want to say, or off Broadway here in New York.
Yeah, it was. I'm trying to get my hair fixed here, Tony.
And then you met. Tell us about your friendship with John Duddy.
Oh, John, my buddy John, who's a wonderful, great fighter.
Who I love. You're right.
Great.
He's a wonderful person.
John Gronya, it's a great call. Yeah, he's a great guy. Would you believe this? I was flying back to New York. I live in California now. I was flying back to New York to see my family or something, or a job or something. And on the plane, I was talking to somebody, and we were talking about boxing, and it came up, and he says, "Oh, you know, John Duddy's fighting tonight." I was like, I know the name, and it was just way back when, and near the beginning of his professional career. So I actually brought my bags. I went straight from the airport to Madison Square Garden, where he was fighting.
Sure.
And I got to the stage door entrance in the back there, and the guy says, of course, the guy knew me, you know, so I got in for free, which we should. And, I'm in there. I'm sitting at ringside, and they moved me out of the ringside. They say you're not supposed to be at ringside. I said, well, someone just got me, and I go talking to John Duddy's manager about it, and he didn't even help me. He kind of, I was kind of, I got resentful at him. And they pushed me back into like the upper seats, and I got up there and I ran into my dad. My dad was up there.
Wow.
I sat on the step beside him. It was so beautiful. I sat on the step beside him, and he was watching the fights, and then afterwards I got to know John, and now we're great friends. And John actually retired. Was supposed to fight my other friend Andy Lee, who was a world champion not at the time, but he was a world champion. And he decided he wanted to get out of boxing, which is very, very intelligent move by John. So I said, John, I'm playing this lead in this off-Broadway play called Kid Shamrock by Bobby Sands. Not Bobby Sands, but Bobby Cassidy, same first name. I only play parts of guys with the name Bobby.
It's an issue, right?
Bob Kennedy. Anyway, so I said, John, I'm playing I'm in the whole play, you know. I'm not the best at doing remembering lines anyway. I have like 350 lines. I said, John, can you play the younger Kid Shamrock? He says, yeah. And he says, when you want me to start, I had to ask the playwright Bobby Cassidy Jr. first, who's a journalist at Newsday. Had to ask, is that okay? He said, sure, that's okay, because he runs the show. So I asked John. He says, when's rehearsals? I said, we're rehearsing tonight. He was down that night to rehearse. He'd never acted before. He came down that night. He was brilliant, you know. And
well, he is brilliant. I mean, look how his career has really taken off. Sure.
Yeah.
But you remain great friends. I did a project with the two of you, and you were both so close. It was obvious that you were good friends.
Yeah. John's a great guy. Great guy.
Well, Toni, can we take a break for a commercial? And when we come back, we talk about what Seamus is working on now?
Absolutely.
All right. So, guys, we will be right back. Give us 1 second. And when we get back, I think we can figure out and maybe even bring up what he is working on. It'll be cool.
Hey, Chef Outer here. Want to tell you about my Amazon best-selling memoir cookbook, A Chef is Born. Chock full of recipes, also ranked the 77th book of all time out of 99, according to the Book Authority.
It's a good book, but I'm a better chef than you.
Yeah.
Did you ever miss someone who has passed away? Now there's Miss You Gram app, giving people a brand new way to tribute the lives of deceased loved ones, or simply remember tender memories. This exclusive app is a user-friendly social media platform, giving people everywhere a respectable and comfortable place to create private or public memoriams. Miss You Gram has additional features like chat rooms and links to deceased databases and inspirational quotes. Users can also comment and connect on public posts. Join us and keep memories alive forever. Everyone wants to be remembered. For more details and download on the Google Play or Apple App Store, visit miss-u-gram.com.
Did you know that at least half of the world's population still does not have access to essential health services? One of the biggest problems in developing countries is the lack of medical monitoring devices. We have a solution. Kipuwex. Kipuwex is an easily attachable, lightweight IOMT device which continuously measures all the clinically relevant biomarkers vital to the assessment of your health. Kipuwex uses smart algorithms to provide efficiently reliable measurements for healthcare professionals. The biomarkers can be monitored remotely, anywhere and at any time, with a mobile and web application. Kipuwex is not limited by physical infrastructure and is suitable for professional use and in the future for home users as well. A simple user interface will let you choose which biomarkers you want to view and displays them on easy-to-read graphs. We here at Kipuwex want to combat healthcare inequality and help millions of people around the world.
Well, Toni, we are back to you with Seamus McDonagh and John Hartmann, our co-hosts. Let's bring them back on, and I'll kick it back over to you, Toni.
Okay. Yes. Why don't you tell us what you're working on and what's happening in your life right now? First, let me say congratulations before I let you get into your career. I know you're a brand new daddy.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Soren is now 3 months old, and my ex wanted to have a child, and we're not together anymore. We're such good friends, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, we had it.
Well, congratulations. I know this is a busy time, so I wanted to get that out of the way first and then say, tell us what's going on with your career.
With my career, there's always stuff going on in my career.
I know.
I get a lot of people contacting me to do things, like, will you play a part in our movie, or you do this show, or you do this, or we'll appear here, and it gets overwhelming at times, and so I've wanted to get a manager. I don't have a manager yet, but I don't want anyone to tell me what to do, though. But so what am I doing now? I just finished a screenwriting class with Mary Kate O'Flanagan from Ireland. It was an online class. It was a wonderful class. Learning all about screenwriting, which I should do if I'm going to call myself a screenwriter. I should take a screenwriting class, and took a course actually, and it was wonderful. And so
you're transitioning more to behind the screen, is that right?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's been useful. It's been very useful to know what they're looking for, what people are looking for, what producers are looking for, what works, what's the formula that has worked before. Yeah, as we know. Yeah.
I mean, because mostly I know you've done. You did a few indie projects for sure. You did one of the projects that with me, and the last I knew, you were working heavily on producing. So I don't know if you continued with that, or you're going to go back in front of the camera again. I wasn't sure where you were these days.
I'll just see what happens. I'm open to any of it. I've only directed a couple of short films. I did one short called Bullied, which I like a lot.
I liked it too.
Yeah, and then how about the little someone interviewed me in the Irish Arts Centre where I did Bobby Sands, the play. Sandy Bacon interviewed me, added a few things from my career. I made a little short movie out of it. It's really I'm reading something, and I read Paul Simon's The Boxer, and I saw San Francisco last year, and she put in this film festival. And it won the film festival. I was like, "What?
Wow!
Yeah."
What's it called? The Boxer?
It's called The Boxer. Yeah. Sandy Bacon is the Shadowbox Film Festival. It's a boxing film festival.
Sure. Well,
Did they make a movie about Boom Boom Mancini? Wasn't that what just came out a year?
That is a brilliant movie. Oh
Is
my
it
God.
really? Okay.
I met Boom Boom at the showing, at the premiere. I don't know if it was the premiere, but the movie his movie was in the festival, and no, he was in the second year, I think. Yeah, I think I won the first year. I think his movie probably won the second year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, my question today for you, Seamus, was if you could be any crayon in the box, what color would you be and why?
I'd be white because I want to be so anonymous, no one even knows I'm here.
You don't show up on the paper.
Amen, man.
Okay.
Well, I keep bugging you to write your biography.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've said this to you a million times. To really hear his story from childhood to now is such a journey. It's just riddled with humanity and you have to do it. You have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I will, Toni, and that's probably why I took the screenwriting class and all that, and yeah, it. I don't know if I will be asking my child as he's growing up. I will be asking him, "Are you suicidal?" Because I was at 10 years old suicidal, and I don't know why I didn't kill myself. I just wanted to walk in front of the trucks whizzing by on the main road near where I lived. So I'll be asking him that. So I would say, ask your children, are they suicidal? Have they ever thought about that? Because I had depression as a child, Yeah. It's a major component of alcoholism, depression.
Absolutely. They've even had the youngest reported suicide recently was 4 years old, and people think it's a bunch of bunk. And I've had people just angrily respond like, I mean, are you kidding me? Do you even hear what you say out of your own throat, Marty? It's so ridiculous. A kid that wanted to, I'm like, well, maybe then you need to begin to look it up and read it for yourself since you're educated with a doctoral, and come to grips with what. And then again, I just called because I become a granddad, Seamus,
Wow.
a month ago. I'm 55, but just last week, in the Wall Street Journal, they reported a significant 25% rise in children arriving at the emergency room in the United States between the ages of 5 and 12. A 25% rise because they're having difficulty coping with re-entry into society, going back to school. It's just like whether you like it or not, or you think it's a bunch of bunk and you don't agree with it, or you think I'm lying or whatever, just look at the math. Maybe pay attention to what's going on, because you're exactly right. It's very important. I've talked with my daughter many times about it's normal to feel like you want to do that. There's no shame in that. Those types of feelings are not right or wrong. They just are. And, let's talk about it.
And it may not even be right there in their consciousness. It's like that it's at the subconscious level. That's why talking about my problems is good and it gets some relief, but it doesn't remove them. It doesn't deal with them. And actually, but writing does. Writing can get to that place at a subconscious level to find out what's underneath what I'm thinking and what's driving me to do this. Should I do this? I write down my fears about it. So it's called false evidence appearing real, FEAR, fear. So I write it down, and as I start writing it down, I get moved into reality, and the fear, the false evidence, starts to disappear, and I'm more in. It's not that I want to fix it. I want it removed, because reality is right here, right now. And what I think is going to happen in the future is actually delusion. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, and there is no future, only what I make up in my head, and that is only there because I have a past. I have a memory of a faulty past that I'm projecting as the future. So it's the greatest movie ever made in my head. So I start to break down the script, write it down, I'm going to give the little formula right here. The number one offender is resentment. So I write down, I am resentful at. And I used to always be resentful at my dad because I never wanted a box. I never wanted to fight. I write down, I'm resentful at my dad because I fear he didn't love me. And he did love me, you know, but my fear was because he wasn't doing what I wanted. I wasn't getting what I wanted. He didn't love me. Fear, he doesn't care about me. Same thing. Fear, I'll get brain damage. Fear, so I write them all down. And then the most profound other thing to do is to write down your fears with no resentments attached, like fear about money, fear about getting old, fear about looking old, fear of all these. Write them down. And what happens is they start to dissipate. And then I found room. There's a space there right after doing that, where I just close my eyes and I slip into transcendental meditation. And the effect is so beautiful and so calming and has me okay with the world, not blaming anybody for anything, because really and truly, no one's to blame for anything. Everyone's just a product of the past, which they didn't make up. And it's a product of a faulty past. So it's all delusion, really. It's all faulty. So write it all down, and I'm back in reality, which is right now. And that's my lecture for today. I'm kidding.
Thank you so much for your testimony. It's a wonderful ministry that you're running.
You're welcome. Bless you.
No, well, all of this, you know, really did help Seamus find his footing and change his life. So
an amazing life he's had so far. Yeah.
Yeah. And now I have a very, very prestigious shoe shine company.
that's right. Tell us about that.
Just got a message on my phone. Yeah. So can you hear the ambulance going by? There's a hospital up the hill, and there's a fire station to the left. So I'm almost border with a. So yeah, I was out of work 25 years ago, and a friend of mine, Kevin Tui, there they come again. Oh my God, let's see, fires downtown. Sorry. San Francisco. This is the city for you. So Kevin had become manager of a business downtown. So he says, "Hey, you look, you need work." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I just got in this shoe shine company." He said, "You want a job?" Yeah. I said, "What would I do?" He says, "Shine shoes." I said, "Really?" So I did it. I loved it, you know. And then I started my own company and called theshoeshine.com. There's a plug, theshoeshine.com. And what I do is I help exhibitors at conventions get leads. We find out what they're selling or promoting, and we find their pitch down 8 to 10 seconds, and we prospect people walking past. And what happens is we make them lots of money, and they love us. And we're the best shoe shine company in the world.
Sure, and you were usually at one convention center or another. I know you've actually made quite a success of the business. So congratulations with that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think we have something here from the San Francisco Bay Area. So I'm not sure if you guys, let me put the sound on for you.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling.
Seamus McDonagh's version of Danny Boy could be heard down the corridors of Moscone Center, a welcomed interlude from the hustle and bustle of another trendy convention.
Wow, that's the best time I've ever seen in my life.
The Irishman is a shoe shiner, and while he'll leave your European pumps shining anew, it is his spirit that polishes your heart.
To know me is to love me. Yeah. I must be a hell of a guy.
If you didn't know him, you'd swear he'd taken one punch too many.
Hey.
The truth is, there is much more to Seamus McDonagh than a tin of polish. He hits the shoes like he's delivering a right cross, as he once did to the eventual heavyweight champion of the world. Look closely. In his shoe shine box is a reminder of that fateful night in Atlantic City some 13 years ago.
Seamus McDonagh, 211 3/4. Evander Holyfield, 210 pounds.
Tyson was supposed to fight Holyfield in June of 1990 Atlantic City. Tyson got knocked out by Douglas in Japan. So they looked in the rankings. They saw I was number 9 in the world as a heavyweight, and they asked me to fight him. And I was good copy back in New York. It was in St. John's University, doing a little bit of acting. You know, Irish, you know, gregarious, boisterous, you know. So they asked. And you were white. I'm still white.
It was almost like a movie script, only this was real. McDonagh was 19-1-1. Holyfield 23-0. Even his father admitted that Seamus wasn't ready, but when a $100,000 payday was offered, McDonagh jumped at the chance.
To me, he has the perfect style. For me, he has a perfect style, and I think that considering the fact that I hit harder than his last 2 opponents, I hit harder than Alex and harder than Michael Dokes. So I think my chances are excellent.
Get to the Dokes fight. Down goes McDonagh. A short right uppercut, McDonagh. With a flash knockdown, he got right up though.
The first round was I was out of it. I was so fearful. I kept falling down. You know that movie Falling Down. I kept falling down. You hit me on top of the head. It was not even a hard punch. I'd fall down because anything would have. You could have knocked me down that night.
McDonagh got back up, but his life changed for good in the 4th round. After a furious exchange, Holyfield lands 2 hard rights. McDonagh's knees buckled, and he went down. And at 44 seconds into the 4th round, it was over.
The whole thing seemed to me like it was a whole fight, like it happened in 10 seconds. I don't know. It just happened so quick. I don't know. I've never fought anybody of Evander's class. He's a great fighter. He'll be the next world champion, believe me.
Who wants a free shoe shine?
13 years later, Seamus McDonagh is here, and he says losing to Holyfield saved his life. Behind the boxer was a heavy drinker who was suicidal and at one time failed in an attempt to take his own life.
Everything happened exactly how it did to get me right here, right now. So I have no regrets. I'm happier now than I ever have been in my life.
Seamus hasn't had a drink in 8 years, and he doesn't thirst for the boxing ring or the recognition from his 5 minutes of fame. But every now and then, if you're lucky, he'll tell you a story.
Sometimes I bring it up because I keep this little picture handy.
That's your proof.
That's me knocking the lunch out of him. Yeah, my proof. Most people don't believe me. The summer's gone, and all the flowers are dying. 'Tis you must come, and we must go.
Joining us now is Seamus McDonagh from his home in San Francisco. Seamus, are you still shoe shining?
I am still in the shoe shine business. I do a lot of shows on the road now. I've turned it into a marketing company. Also, I got into acting. I've been to film school since I did that interview. I was the lead in a sitcom in New York, a lead in a crime series in LA. I did 3 movies. And then after doing all those things, I realized none of them made it to the screen. I was like, what's going on here? So I went to film school in Berkeley, the Berkeley Digital Film Institute, and learned how to make film.
You have 2 sisters who are nurses in New York City, and they both came down with this disease. What's the update on them?
Well, they actually weren't tested, but they had all the symptoms, and they're both nurses. They all stayed at home. They got over it. Both are back at work now, doing the same thing again. They're nurses at Mount Sinai Hospital up on the east side of Manhattan, and they're on the front lines working.
Finally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
just
it's great to see you in action. It's great to see you in action, Seamus. Both to see some clips from the fight, which is on YouTube. I think anybody can see pretty much the entire fight.
It's the thing here. So some guy came over to me recently, like basically not that long ago, and says that fight was stopped illegally. I said, why? He says, because when you got up, I got up at the end. I got up. He says the count only reached 7, 8, and it's supposed to go to 10. So it was actually stopped illegally.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. And maybe I go back and watch it again.
I need a lawyer.
Well, I think it's kind of neat to go back and watch the fight to see you at probably the height of your boxing career. But what I liked best about the little footage we saw is it really captures you, the you I know, the singing, the storytelling. because I don't think we've ever spoken or gotten together where you didn't have a great story to tell me. Either something, Marty, Seamus is one of those people that you say, hey, what have you been up to? And Seamus would be like, can I believe I just walked in? I was there with Matt Dillon, and we were like, and he has this great story to tell you of some just obscure thing that happened to him, and it's all these different celebrities.
A great spirit about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a great testimonial, like President Bush, who also has said many times, with his DUI and becoming a criminal, you could still become president of the United States. So, yeah. A lot of people don't know that President Bush was an alcoholic.
Yeah. Very kind guy. I saw a documentary about him recently. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Right. So Seamus has got the heart of a storyteller. So I think that was one of the nicest things about seeing that video for me just now. I think you got that essence. He's telling the story, shining his shoes, he's singing.
Yeah. And we're all a constellation of our past. I mean, like, I guess I've had this very flowery past. Growing up, born in England, in Birmingham. We lived at 281 Warwick Road. The family moved to Ireland. My dad was very successful in England. Ireland, nothing. He just couldn't get work for some reason, just a bad, and then he came here like his father. And I was reading, I still see I see it in myself. I heard an expression about the colonial hangover from England, from the Irish colonial hangover, from being dominated and ruled by the English for so many years, and where they no one's to blame for anything, but this is a fact that happened. Was they killed the culture and they kind of killed the spirit. But
yeah, that's what I was wondering. Did your dad have the wrong accent in Ireland?
No, he never lost his accent. He went to England when he was 15 with his dad. His mom passed away with a heart attack. His dad was here, and his mom passed away with a heart attack. He had the Irish accent. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Because sometimes down here where I live in the South, people have said, you've got the wrong accent to be talking to me, or, I have a Yankee accent, a Northern accent.
That is funny because we had the English accent. So we were in my dad wanted to talk with Irish accents, but we're raised in England. I was 10 years old when I came to Ireland.
Sure.
Accents, and
you have more of an Irish accent now than you do.
Hey, Shirley, what about you?
Tony knows I do a lot of accents.
That is the worst, Marty. That's the worst Irish accent I've ever heard in my life. Here's my
but it's enough to fool Tony, and that's what's important.
Who's easily fooled?
Here's the joke. There's a joke here. Far and away the worst accent I ever heard. Tom Cruise.
When I went to Ireland, it was the time of my life. I often tell people it was fantastic. We went to the cliffs of Moher. I was a little disappointed with all the Budweiser signs down the street. And I asked a gentleman in a bar, and he said, well, this is kind of like the 51st state. I was like, oh, okay, because, we have like Budweiser is so famous in America. I didn't expect to see all that here. And we went all the way down south to, of course, Blarney Castle was a big thing for all Americans. And we waited like an hour all the way up the fortress steps, all the way up the castle walls, and finally got out into the open clearing, and you're waiting in line. And finally, an hour and a half later, we got over there. And the guy said, so go on ahead, lay down now, upside down, and you'll hang out at the edge of the castle, and I'll hold on to your legs. And you kiss the Blarney Stone upside down. And I was like, are you out of your damn mind? I wasted an hour and a half. There's no way you're holding on to my legs while you hold me. He's like, well, everyone's doing it. Next. And the next person came up and laid down. You people must be out of your damn minds. And so I went off, and I did not kiss the Blarney Stone. So, but I loved Ireland.
I'd agree with you, Marty. I didn't kiss the Blarney Stone. I bit it.
You bit? Okay. Okay. Well, that's all for today, guys. We really appreciate having you, Seamus.
Thank you.
And good luck to you.
Still looking for funding for my next movie.
Yes, funding is critical. You
Well,
would
where
be
can people see? Where can people, see anything going on with you, funding or the like? Is there a web page? Is there the Twitter, something?
People can reach me on my business website, which is the shoeshine.com. THE shoeshine.com. All my information's on there, contact information.
Good. Okay. Well, Seamus, it's been delightful to see you. I'm so happy to get to lay eyes on you, even if it is virtually.
Likewise.
Yeah, and he lives in beautiful San Francisco. My
Yes.
gosh.
Thank you, Marty.
Riccione, the cable cars, Coit
Yeah.
Tower. I drove my wife across that Golden Gate Bridge from the reverse side of Sausalito. She was crying, called her mother here in North Carolina, told her, "You won't believe I'm driving across the Golden Gate Bridge, Mom." Alcatraz. You got to go down to Fisherman's Wharf and get the chowder in the bread bowl. I always tell people, get the edible bread bowl. Don't get the plastic thing. Or there's so much to see and do there. That's my favorite city in the whole world. You're in a great place.
Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite cities also, Marty. So great to meet you, and it's always a joy to communicate, to see you, Toni, just to know you. So thank you so much. And John, I know where he is now. He's down there somewhere. But
He ran off the court. He had to go to the court case. Take care, Seamus. Thank you for being on the Presidential Network.
Si se puede.